Sam's 10 years old. He's very, very confident. He's of my two children, of which both of them do Warrior Academy. He's probably the one that wears his heart on his sleeve. My daughter is a bit like me. She's quite rigid, whereas Sam is quite emotionally intelligent like his mum. A confident boy, very competitive, and he's the youngest in his year, which again I look to Warrior Academy because they would bring him on somewhat in his development, and they absolutely have. I mean, I've noticed it. I've been in the army for 24 years, so discipline, structure and that sort of stuff is really good, and Sam he's emulated that from pretty much what he's been taught in Warrior Academy. Gone of some archaic father that teaches him 20 years of discipline that I've learned, but he's got it. But what's been more noticeable is in the recent parents' evening, the teachers have commented on his level of maturity has just exponentially grown. He's a real popular boy in his class, but with popularity comes, he's always in the wrong place at the wrong time, should we say? And because he's a popular kid, he tends to find his way towards the troublemakers. But what's been really noticeable in his last year in junior school is that he's taken himself away from that, but he's done it on his own. He's taken the high ground himself to say, actually, that's stupid, that's silly. But I put it down to what he's learned in Warrior Academy. We've had a change in instructor. We've had instructor Matt, and now we've got instructor Leighton. And I think the pathway of what they've carried on is absolutely phenomenal. I think instructor Matt set the foundations. Clearly at home, we're quite discipline orientated, probably me more than his mum. So we've got to have a good cop and a bad cop, but he's definitely noticed a massive difference in how he's developed over the year. But it's from his teacher that's noticed it, probably more so than what we have. I like the fact that it's not just a repetition of drill. There's a lot of understanding of why they do stuff, and it just starts off that the basics of, why do we bow to show respect? And there's that breaking it down into characteristics that we need. And I know that instructor Seb, his father's from a military background, and Seb's got some military experience himself. So I think that there's an underlying military theme in there which is tried and tested. And I just like the approach to it. It's relaxed, but it's disciplined and structured. And I think the first thing that stood out to me in the early classes is the way they get the children to come out the front, and they get them to take things, and they get them to take responsibility. So I think that's really empowering. Well, I think for me as a parent to be involved, and when the opportunity presented to be an ambassador, again, 24 years in the military, I wasn't fortunate enough to have parents that put me through martial arts stuff, although I did a little bit. I really wanted to understand and see the development myself. And instructor Seb and the team invited a number of parents to offer if they wanted to become ambassadors. And I think that, again, it's about role models. And as much as I like Sam and Marley, my daughter, to look at the instructors as role models, I think it's important that parents are equally role models as well. I'm quite fortunate that instructor Seb and instructor Leighton allow me to go to every class every week, and I just assist, and I'm just there, which is really good for me because I get to see my children, but equally as important, I get to see other children, and I have that interface with the parents as well, which I think is really good because it's another parent talking to parents and giving their children praise from another parent is probably equally as rewarding as from an instructor as well. So to me, it's a good fit and it works for me. We only ever took Sam to one other class, and that was a karate class, and he just didn't warm to it. For me personally, I can see the value in everything that they do, and again, I think it's the business model, if you like, that instructor Seb and Vicky have put together, and I think it's really difficult to quantify. But what I would say is, of all the children that I've seen go through the journey, I think we've seen development in all of them, and I think that it's underpinned by the discipline, the respect, and the respect for others, which is really good. And I'm not saying other martial arts don't do it, but I think it's really prevalent in Warrior Academy that they do that. So from Marley's perspective, Marley is probably a bit of a harder child than Sam, in as much, and when I say harder, I mean as in probably non-emotional, probably very much like me, so she's her father's daughter. So for her, I think it's that ability to empathise, and she's learnt that a little bit more, particularly with Marley's very black and white, and I think her standing out the front, her teaching, her taking that responsibility has developed her empathy in as much as maybe the weaker children that she probably typically would have just been, no, yeah, no. I think it's just made her a little bit more empathetic towards other children as well. And of course, I think the competitive edge that the two of them are only 11 months apart. So 17 months apart. So I think there's that competitive streak between them, and I think they both like to be rewarded. They both like praise, so I think they've kind of converged together with how they've developed, and I think they can play off of each other, which is really good. The reason I recommend Warrior Academy, I really like its model. I love the fact that it develops the kids' character and confidence. I recommend it mainly because I've seen the development change in my children, and being an ambassador as well and being involved in the classes very frequently, I've seen the other children develop, and I think that's really powerful. It's a powerful model. You've got fantastic instructors. They vary in their experience and age, and it's a positive, it's definitely not a negative. I like the structure, I like the interface, I like everything that goes with it, the media, the social media, the updates of what we get, and I think the model that instructor Seb has done is he's allowed us as ambassadors to give opinion, give feedback, and develop his model in line with as ambassador parents as well. We kind of hit it at two levels. We hit it as a parent and we hit it as an ambassador as well. So as the body of the Kirk with the whole team, I feel empowered as a parent and as an ambassador to help shape Warrior Academy, which I think is a privilege. I think with both of them, both Marley and Sam have developed an ethos of wanting to make themselves proud, want to make us proud as parents. And I used the summer competition that was last time. Sam, in instructor Seb's words, and instructor Matt, was phenomenal and competed probably 3 belts above the standard of what he was at. I think that's due to how the Warrior Academy has developed him. Again, his confidence, his character, and his ability to understand the difference between right and wrong. And Sam wants to show you what good looks like. But he does that in his physical attributes from like competing. So I think the competition really brought out that, but we can relate it to his home life as well. He's like any child, he needs to be told to make his bed and he needs to be told to do things, but you give him structure and you give him boundaries, and he is starting to show the maturity where he will make those decisions himself. And the example I've used of removing himself from situations at school where actually it could have resulted in confrontation, but he has chosen the right path to take himself away from the troublemakers. But more importantly, he now really understands the difference between right and wrong, and Warrior Academy has helped him form that opinion. 3 words, wow. Inclusive, empowering, and rewarding.